This is the 8-9 combo. I'm Brett McKay. This is Harry Jones, and this is the Weekend Post-Mortem. Hello, mate. How you doing?
How's it, man? I've never been a good winker. I've never been a good flirter, conventional, or joke teller, conventionally as well. I just don't do those things in a way that people ever take seriously. My flirting style has been very successful, I think, but it's not a proper flirting style. One thing I cannot do is wink without it looking like ridiculousness. So this is the wink gate. We moved on from strangle gate. Jefferson Poirot strangling young Henry. Always young, always mentioning his name, and then now we've moved on to the Sharks winking at Munster. Weird.
Yes, we will get on to Winkgate in just a moment. Regular seasons are now officially done. Essentially, finals.
It's getting exciting.
It is, yeah.
Finals formats are starting to take shape.
And they're starting to fall into place everywhere. And the Weekend Post-Mortem will rip in and pull out all the big moments and all the big results from the games that grabbed us around the rugby world this weekend. We are getting into the serious end of the rugby season, mate. This is the exciting part.
Yeah, the sad part too. I mean, there's only one winner in these competitions, so 90% of every fan group is going to be moping around and singing sad songs.
Yes, and some have already started. Before we do get into the Weekend Post-Mortem, and as we plow on towards 8,000 subscribers, mate, please do, again, just tell the nice people why we would love them to hit the subscribe button and turn their notifications and all that on for the 8-9 combo.
Because every time you subscribe, I wink. It's a little wink bonus.
You've sold me. I'm going to unsubscribe just so I can resubscribe.
That's it.
Oh, that's a great explanation. If you aren't subscribed and you want to wink, then just hit the little red subscribe button down there in the corner if you're watching
easy, right? You just push it.
Yeah, just push it. Just hit the bell and all that sort of stuff as well. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Pods, any of the podcast platforms, then hit follow, hit like, hit subscribe, whatever it happens to be on your podcast platform of choice, and you won't miss a wink. We promise you. Let's get straight into it, mate. Let's go URC Quarter Finals first and foremost. And what we know, the bracket is what it is. And what we do know is that the Glasgow Storm I'll come back to what Glasgow did. The Bulls were very much too good for Edinburgh, 42-33. Leinster killed off any thoughts of a Scarlets upset, winning that match 33-22. The Sharks beat Munster 6-4 on penalties after finishing 24 all in extra time. And I mean, isn't that an extraordinary image of two players involved in a game and one of them standing there like, oh, I do not want to do this any longer than I have to. Connor Murray just standing there in the background with ball under his arm, waiting for the kick to be done with. I mean, I love the idea of a kicking contest to decide knockout games in rugby. I love the concept. I would absolutely hate it if my team was on the bottom end of it. I've got no doubt at all. But I love the idea of it. Like it's so rare that you can't help but love it.
Yeah, so the seeding held form in the URC.
Yes.
All the top seeds won, and just as you would imagine, the 4 seed against the 5 seed was the closest. It was as close as it possibly could be after 100 minutes, with the Sharks turning down a shot at goal. It was a difficult shot, but still, you end up turning down about a 70% shot at goal, and then you take a 20% drop goal attempt at the end anyway. And then you end up at a shootout contest where you're taking those same 70% kicks to win. So it's very much an adage. Our friend Chuck always says, take the 3. So we do have a shot. It's on the boot. You have your tee. Go for the tee. However, it would have spoiled and we would have lost out on a wonderful drama, and a drama that is now has the whole rugby world in upheaval and has taken Henry Pollock and Poirot off the dock, and we're done now with Stranglegate. Now we're on to Cramp and Smirk and Wink and coaches on the field gate. And
So,
the tempest in the teapot top is that Jack made the kick. Jack Crowley
yes,
did make the kick. He was
yes.
actually willing to take the kick. And there's a picture on social we can put up, or you can put it here, is Jaden was really far away from him on TV because of the perspective and where it was filmed from. It looked like he collapsed right in front of him. He was literally as far away as every kicker has his own players from him when they take kicks. A lot of times when kickers take kicks, there's a mate right next to them. They got to shove them aside.
There's a referee counting down,
and the referee is the one who pulled it up and said, "No, I won't make you do it," which essentially iced Jack. But then when he did make the kick, it was a really ugly, hard power fade. It looked like just
both of his kicks.
Three iron.
Both of his kicks were like my 3-iron. Absolutely just
a stinger.
High and fading. I was like, my goodness, that's not what you want to be doing. So let's just go back. Well, actually, let's go back about 50 minutes because it was 24 all. Conor Murray kicked a late penalty to make it 24
clutch
all.
Murray.
And the second half was back and forward, and both teams had their opportunities. Both teams probably rude missed opportunities as well. But Conor Murray kicks that penalty from decent range. It was on the 10-meter line. Yeah, certainly 46, 47 meters on the angle. He kicks that to make it 24 all, and that was it with about 4 minutes to go, I think.
In heavy air. It was a very close, humid day. Yeah.
Then we play 10 minutes each way of extra time.
Correct.
No further scores. So then we go to a kicking competition. And what I learned about the kicking competition, having watched it back on Sunday morning, is that I had thought, and there's been iterations of the kicking competition in rugby. In my mind, they were all pretty well on the 22 in front of posts. I didn't realize that one kick then goes out to the 15-meter tram line. The other one goes to the other 15-meter tram line. Then you go back to the 10-meter line and repeat the process.
Right.
So the winning goal, the winning kick from the young Sharks,
Bradley Davies, yeah.
He's a left footer. He's kicked it from the left-hand tram line, 40 meters out, wrong side for a left footer, and he's absolutely slotted it. Scenes in Durban as much as you want.
There's lots of talking points around that, by the way. So Neil Powell comes on at the end he's the Sharks assistant coach, famous Sevens coach, and he has a color printed sheet, which the TV camera does pick up, and he's literally going through for his three kickers, who was not including Afalele Fase. It includes Bradley Davids, 22-year-old, who was brought on with about 30 seconds left in the extra time, specifically to be a kicker. So the Sharks had a plan, and they always had Bradley on the left side. They liked his percentages. In Curry Cup, he kicked a winner. He's known as an Iceman kicker, and so he doesn't really bring the ball
from the wrong side.
He doesn't really draw it as much as a lot of people do. Yeah. So he actually just puts a very easy motion. He has the brothers Hendrikse. He has the Jaden, who ends up getting the cramp in the middle, and so he's going to take the first shot, and then there's the first shot of the first round. So you do three kicks and then three kicks.
So each team only had to spend this. The other thing I learned: each team just had to specify three kickers. Whereas I'm sure once upon a time, back when Cardiff played,
you keep going down to forwards. Yeah,
Leicester, I think it was in a Heineken Cup knockout
sad moment. Yeah,
15 years ago.
Yeah,
that was drop goals at the time from in front, and they just kept going down the list, and it was well into forwards by the time it got decided. Yeah.
So this one you're picking, and the Sharks appeared to know what they were doing from the jump.
Right.
Now, when you go to Munster, what's interesting is your point is well taken on the left thing, but Conor Murray was your surest kicker who never got to kick his second kick because once Rory Scannell had missed from the right tram, when he came to Bradley, all he had to do was make it, and then Connor's was done. It was academic. Yes. I think Conor Murray, who's been in pressure kicks situations for 20 years, should have been the one that was in that first two rotations so that you can book it. So you have your Jack Crowley, Jack Crowley and your Conor Murray, recognized kickers.
Yeah.
Then if it gets down
put them in front, put them in his favorite side. Yeah.
As it turned out, Rory Scannell missed his first one. He snap hooked it. And then they were always going to just be in a situation of watching the Sharks make it or not.
Yeah.
What's made the whole internet go ablaze is that after the first kick, there's an exchange. Now, we don't know whether Jack Crowley said something to Jaden Hendrickse. Jaden will never not talk back. First of all, he's a 9.
Not until he writes his book.
He's a 9, okay? And Munster had targeted him
the
all
most
game.
honest player on the field, the 9.
Yeah, maybe. And he played 100 minutes in the humidity, whereas you had Craig Clark, Craig Casey, a known shit talker as well, Conor Murray, a sly, understated shit talker, and Peter O'Mahony on the field, who was saying target the 9. So I'm just putting that as context that by the time Jaden Hendrickse at 100 minutes had his first kick, and then he went for his second kick, which was from a long way.
40, yeah.
It's very possible he had a cramp. And
yes.
there's vision about a massive hematoma-looking tennis ball coming out of his leg.
His calf didn't look great, to be fair.
So there's a shit talking back and forth after first kick. So, but again, we don't know whether Jack Crowley said something to him on the way or Jaden. But the ref calls up Jaden and says, "Hey, don't talk to each other." Then after second kick, he collapses. It looks like he's on top of the kick. He's a good 10 meters away.
Yes.
Then
and let me just pick up on this. If this wasn't a kicking competition at the end of extra time, so if this was happening in the 23rd minute, any referee worth their salt would have just said, "We can play on. This doesn't matter. This we can carry on the game without this," and the game would have carried on, because it was a kicking competition where everyone's eyes were literally on one player in the middle of the field. They went.
The ref was in a bad situation. If he had allowed it to go, and then he missed it, there'd have been an outcry to have him kick it again, and you don't want that, because then the Sharks would have been outraged. So I think he did the right thing, probably.
Yes.
Net. Okay, so then he does it, and but Jack Crowley is still fired up about the fact that there's coaches, and I don't know if they're coaches, but there are people working for the Sharks that are doing the stretch thing on Jaden. Now that's when things get crazy, because Conor Murray's also talking to them, so they're chirping at each other. Coach chirps back, which is not a good look.
Jack Crowley standing there, ball underarm, having a massive spray at them.
Then camera work catches Jaden lying down, and he winks at Jack. That's funny to me. I mean, I know everyone said that's terrible, and he should be banned from rugby, and it's cheating.
Yeah.
I just think in the grand scheme of things of what people do in rugby and how much they sledge each other and chirp, that's quite funny to me.
And let's be honest, that would not be the first time that an injured player has winked at an opposition player in the same situation this month. And it's the 1st of June. This has happened every week of the rugby year, people. This is the
also, it doesn't mean he didn't have a cramp, guys. And
no, he may well have had a cramp.
Tyburn had a cramp in the game itself, which delayed the end of the game. And then Tyburn came back on and played really well. So cramps can be worked out of your system. It's just definitely Jaden was definitely playing a game with Jack. Okay, so let's just let's agree to those facts. Is that he wanted Jack to miss the kick? Oh my God! You know,
I think these two things. I think these two things can be true, and we'll move on after this. These two things can be true. He could have had a cramp, and he could have chosen beautifully that moment for one of the great all-time pieces of shithousery in rugby.
It was shithouse. There's no doubt. Okay, that's a prime A, grade A.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we need to talk about Glasgow beating the Stormers 36-18. And I get that this is a sore point for you. Fortunately, you've kind of addressed this, and you've put this out on your socials. This is too good not to share with the audience. This is Harry not wanting to talk about the Stormers' loss to Glasgow.
I don't want to talk about the loss in Glasgow, though it's hurting me. Now it's history.
The notes you're hitting.
We played all our cards. Dummies, chicken wings, and scrums too. Nothing more to say. No more ace to play.
Oh, this is going to be tough.
The winner takes it all.
That's as high as it goes.
We losers standing small. Not ours the victory. That's your destiny. We were up in arms. thinking we belonged there.
I'm sad all over
but
again.
We were just fools.
I'm sorry to
playing by no
this is too
rules.
good not to.
The gods may throw a dice.
That was okay.
Their minds as cold
Oh
as
my
ice.
Goodness.
And someone way down here
you're smashing these
loses
notes,
something dear. The winner takes it all.
Oh. Sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize to the audience for that terrible note that I almost reached.
It's absolutely superb. Oh my goodness.
That's how I dealt with my grief.
That was waiting for me when I woke up on Sunday morning, and I laughed as hard as I just have again. That was I
just wanted you to see how I deal with my grief, because then I go into a dark hole and pretend it didn't happen. I didn't see that.
Look, I'm prepared for you to not talk about the Stormers now. Now that we've shared this with the audience, I don't think we need to go into it any further. So
yeah.
So where we go from here, we are. For where we go from here is Leinster play Glasgow on Saturday,
revenge game,
Saturday afternoon. Cool. Yes, for last year's final, and the Bulls will host the Sharks at Loftus.
I think that's box office, so Loftus will sell out.
I think
Leinster and Glasgow have a spicy rivalry because Leinster just spanked Glasgow, and Glasgow is not happy about it. And Leinster's been a bit. There was a bit of a wobbliness against the Scarlets.
Yeah, that's fair. More than fair. So we'll obviously go through those in a little bit more detail in Games of the Week coming out later this week. It was the final round of Super Rugby Pacific, round 16 of that, and I mean the Chiefs started fast, then they lifted the foot and they put it back down to thump the Highlanders pretty well. The Crusaders made the most of a late opportunity they should not have had to beat the Brumbies in Canberra. The Blues absolutely smashed New South Wales 46-6. No two ways about it. That was man. I mean, when you go into a game with mathematical hopes and they're over inside 20 minutes, that's a rough day at the office. The Hurricanes snuffed out any hopes of a maiden Moana Pacifica finals campaign. They won that 64-12. And then I think Queensland caught the Fijian Drua on their end of season trip, if I'm perfectly honest. And they won that by 50 as well. So, I mean, where do you want to go through there?
I feel like the gap was established, and it was probably established a couple of weeks ago, but you can see with the Brumbies, Crusaders, Humdinger, that could have turned out the other way, and probably another day, there might be a rematch of that. But then when you look at sort of the difference between the Reds and the Drua, the Canes, I think there's a clear separation that the 6 teams that got in, maybe the one question mark would be around the Blues, but that seems like clearly this is who you'd want in the finals. The question mark around the Blues is just Moby because they started so badly. But I think if you look at the season as a whole now, in fairness, the Blues are a qualified finalist. I could see them giving the Chiefs a hell of a battle.
They have spent 2 out of 16 weeks in the top 6, and in exactly the same way that you only need to be leading in the 80th minute, one of those 2 weeks is round 16.
Something is rotten in Sydney, though. The Waratahs were given a lot of fanfare about not just the signings, but also the coaching setup with Mike Catt being from Ireland. But when I look at the season and I see where it was going well, there was continuity as much as you could with injuries. And then I think by the end, there was too much shifting and shaping. And I think there's a rightful angst in New South Wales rugby about why does Dan McKellar say that he believes in Ben Norwin's theories about cohesion and even cite them and quote them? But then it seems like there's a lot of mixing, matching at 9 and 10. And in the biggest game of all, you had a guy who played 30 minutes of Super Rugby on there. And he did make some mistakes. I'm not bagging on Jack Bowen. Who wouldn't if you didn't? If you walk into that cauldron.
Oh,
but it's not an easy place to go play your first full starting match.
That said, I wouldn't at all be surprised if the Waratahs say they got out of that game what they needed, and I wouldn't at all be surprised to see Jack Bowen leading the Waratahs forward from here.
Yeah, that's
what did I say? What did I say to in our chat group?
Yeah,
continuity with change.
Sure, it's a big bet, and a lot of people in Sydney who love their rugby are a bit peeved at so many the list of 10s that have left over.
And
years.
it's a valid point. You've only got to look at this in the last few years, and it's Will Harrison's in Japan, Ben Donaldson's in Western Australia, Tane Edmed could end up in Canberra.
Yeah,
you go back to the previous generation, and Mac Mason played 3 games off the bench in 3 years, basically. There was so many instances where, like, until Bernard Foley came along, they chopped and changed, and it seemed, if you go back 20 years ago, being a New South Wales fly half, you actually had a decent chance to get a go of it, because they'd sort of have a go with one guy and he'd get 5 or 6 games and they'd move on to the next one, and that's how it was. But the succession planning in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years hasn't been great.
If there's one position on the field besides maybe a tight head prop that needs an extended run to get a handle on their craft and understand their business, it's a 10.
Absolutely, it's 10. Absolutely, it's 10. Yeah, absolutely, it's 10. So the semi-finals, qualifying finals next week. The 3 games. Cool. As it is. So it's Crusaders, Queensland Reds on Friday night. And then on Saturday, the Chiefs host the Blues in Hamilton, and the Brumbies host the Hurricanes again in Canberra.
How are you feeling about the Hurricanes coming? They're the hot team.
No, I'll be honest. I'd prefer it if it had been Queensland or Moana, if I'm completely honest.
The Hurricanes are dangerous right now.
I think I might even prefer to play the Blues.
Yeah, the Hurricanes look like they've found their secret sauce. They're good.
Yeah. No, they're in a very good space. The Hurricanes, no doubt. I just want to reiterate a point I made on socials on Saturday morning about the knock on at the end of that Crusaders Brumbies game. And my whole point in this, and I put the post out that I did. My whole point in this is not necessarily even about that particular knock on in that moment in that game. The point is that was a very, very clear knock on that a referee 3 meters away didn't see. And that's my point. That's unacceptable. And you can apply that same theory to any particular very obvious mistake you want to blow up about this week, next week, or any other week. Like, we're playing professional sport now. We need our match officials to be at the same level. And I feel like this year that hasn't been the case in Super Rugby. I feel like our refereeing has been disappointing at times. And I say that almost annoyingly, because we deliberately don't talk about refereeing. We've made a point over 3.5 years
it's a race
not
to nowhere,
wanting
right?
to get into it, because it is a race to nowhere. Exactly. So that's my point on that. We need the bar to be higher with our match officials, and I don't think that's speaking out of turn.
I was thinking about this, and I think it's the depth that we lack. I mean, I think there's top end good officials, but when we get to the second tier in the IRC, we have people like referees admitting they don't know the rules, and there's a couple of referees running around that are not in shape. So I think so it's probably around recruitment. So we need more refs to be and draw them from really good players or people who are really
absolutely
fit to be a ref.
Absolutely. And I feel like this weekend there's 3 qualifying finals in Super Rugby. I feel like working out who the 3 best are will be the easiest job of the week, because it's just clear who the 3 best referees are in Super Rugby. Anyway,
probably right.
It was the last round of the Premiership this weekend as well, round 18. Excuse me. The Sale Sharks locked down 3rd spot with their win over Exeter. Gloucester ended Northampton's very up and down year with a 41-26 win. Leicester geared up pretty well with a 20-point win over Newcastle. Bristol scraped into 4th with that 52-26 win over Harlequins out at home at Bristol, but put me to sleep doing so. And Saracens were left ruining what ifs, I think, of the season with a 10-point win over Bath, who were very much just resting a few bodies ahead of semi-finals next weekend.
Yeah, I talked to our pod mate, Charlie Morgan, about the matchups that have ensued. And for him, it's the best. So he really likes the Bath Bristol matchup. That's a really good power versus one of the widest, most attacking teams on the world, actually, Bristol. So that's a great matchup style. And then Tiger's Sail is a little bit like
it's a ripper.
Derby. It's a really both teams will come at and they'll play, I'm bigger than you, I'm better than you. It's going to be fun.
Well, and I like that they've come together in a semi-final, because even at the midpoint of the year, no one was talking about Sale Sharks. No one was giving them two minutes of thought. And then Leicester, considering where they were last year, to be finishing second and hosting a semi-final on the second last weekend of the season, they'll be, a year's a long time in rugby, isn't it?
It's a big turnaround. Checkers got him right where he wants. So we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago about how he didn't think they were ruthless enough. His pronouncement now is we're almost there.
Yeah. It feels about right. They're playing really well at the moment. You've got to give that to them. It is the penultimate round of the top 14. Excuse me. Castor now 1 point behind Bayonne after a 33-point just a 3 thumping. That was on Friday night, I think. That's not on that little score graphic I've got up there at the moment. Poe won the hipster match of the week over Van, 52-26. That was the game that Hugh Griffin put us on to. La Rochelle have notched their 5th straight win to beat Perpignan 38-15. And then Toulouse, Lyon, and Toulon, Bordeaux are still to come. So I sort of feel like the line of demarcation is coming in the top 14 as well. I think.
Remind me, is this a 6 team?
Yeah, top 6. Yeah,
so you
top
look at
6.
Toulouse and Toulon and Bordeaux all playing today, and then you have underneath them, you have Bayonne, Castres, and Clermont chasing.
Yep. Let me bring the table up for you.
That's very close. There's 2 teams on 62 and 63 points.
Yeah, that's right. So Clermont are now 3 points in 7th behind La Rochelle in 6th.
And Poe is right there too.
Poe is only 2 points behind there as well. I'm not sure. Clermont next week, for what it's worth, have Montpellier, who aren't too far out of the reckoning either. Sure. They're on 56. So there is, Montpellier is not going to get there. I don't think Poe's going to get there, but Clermont could do something funny next week. La Rochelle have Poe. So
what's still juicy about it is that Toulouse and Bordeaux are on a collision course, perhaps again, and
it feels like it.
Revenge factor there. Yeah,
it feels like since about I'll say round 10, it might have been earlier than that, but ever since then, it's been a 15-16 round waiting point for Toulouse to play Bordeaux in the final.
For sure,
is what it feels like. So and that's.
Toulouse had a good start, and then Bordeaux has been steadily kind of just reeling them in, and they have the confidence on their side as well now.
Yep, that's it. It was grand final weekend in League One in Japan. It was the Richie Mo'unga show. Toshiba Brave Lupus 18 beat the Kubota Spears 13, a second straight League One title for Toshiba. It was Richie Mo'unga, supposedly the highest paid player in rugby, and he's earned every cent of it today, hasn't he?
Yo, Richie, let someone else win something.
Yeah, it was literally all him. They led at halftime. They led 8-6, and he had scored a try, kicked a conversion, kicked a penalty.
All he lacks is the World Cup. Really,
he missed a conversion. Sorry,
he has one in his cabinet. He has one miss, just the World Cup. He has everything else.
That's some nice shithousery on your part too. Bernard Foley kicked a couple of conversions, a couple of penalties in the first half, but ultimately they come up short. There was no one relegated from Division 1 in the end. Honda Heat beat Kintetsu by 10, so they stayed up on aggregate. Urasu beat Shuttles Aichi by 6, so they scraped through an aggregate as well. So no one goes from Div 1 down to Div 2, and Kobe Steelers beat Panasonic in the 3rd, 4th playoff, and I'm not even going to tell you the score because no one cares. And it was the second last round of Major League Rugby as well.
Welcome to Miami.
Yeah. Conference semi-final spots have basically been secured everywhere. Miami have a good win over San Diego. Utah are now top of the Western Conference with that win over Anthem, 31-10. Chicago are now top in the Eastern Conference with their 38-17 win over Nola Gold, final round next weekend.
Yeah, I feel like Utah's rise has been the big story.
They've timed their run well. Utah are the La Rochelle of the United States.
Yeah, I think maybe about 2 months ago I pointed out, I said, Utah, watch Utah, because they have this kind of proper build to their team. And I think it's also they built for the long term. I think this was 2 or 3 years in the offing. So well done on team building and making sure that you have the right parts.
Yep. It's come together nicely for them. It's a big wrap, mate. Anything else we need to fit in this weekend?
Oh, everyone, just remember to love your fellow rugby brethren. Don't be too harsh when you lose. It's difficult to have perspective,
especially if they lost the game, because we don't need everyone breaking into song. We don't need everyone breaking into song.
Yeah, so if you do lose, just sing. Don't call people cheats and stuff. Yeah.
If your team goes down next weekend, we would absolutely love you to break into song, tag the 8-9 combo, and we will share your pain with the world, and that will help your healing.
This is a genius idea. I like it. Okay, do that, everyone.
Yeah, please do that. Harry and I remain in on the socials in our usual places, then at Harry Bordy Jones and at BMC Sport. You can tell us what you think, and you can share your videos and sad songs by finding and following the 8-9 combo on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Blue Sky as well. You can have your say right here on the 8-9 combo YouTube channel. You can leave a comment if you're listening on Spotify as well. And please do share us and like us and leave a rating and all that sort of stuff as well. This is the 8-9 combo, the short side set piece combination you didn't realize you needed in a rugby podcast. I'm Brett McKay. He's Harry Jones, and we will be back in your ears in just a few days' time with Sean Maloney joining us for another great rugby chat.
Come play with us
and sing your sad songs.